Henri Matisse inspired today's art project. He made artwork probably when your great-grandparents were kids. He's from France, which is why he has an I at the end of his name. For this lesson, we're going to look at some of his still lifes, which are paintings of objects he probably found around his house. I noticed he painted lots of objects on tables with a really fun background. We're going to use Henri Matisse's idea today and draw some objects on a tabletop. So the first thing you need to do is collect some objects to draw. Find some crayons or markers, and if you have watercolor paint, you can use that too. I found these plants that I have in my house. Here is one of his still life paintings. They're little goldfish on a table. I think they have such fun personalities, and I love all the plants in the background. Here he has lemons sitting on a table. My favorite part of this painting, though, is the window and that neat tree behind it. Here's a vase of flowers, but look at all the color in the background. He's definitely the master of color. My favorite part about this painting is the artwork on that blue wall. He has artwork in his artwork. A really neat pattern too on that tablecloth. And here is a woman in a purple coat. There's so much to look at here. The background, the colors, the table. So what still life objects around your house can you draw to make a painting like Henri Matisse? Here's what I found in my house and set up for me to draw. And pull apart. All right, I'm gonna start with my first large pot, my ZC plant. And even though it's black and white, Matisse is the king of color, so I'm gonna use lots of colors today. I'm going to draw a big oval, straight line down, then a smile. And this pot has these little feet here. And it's got a really neat pattern on it. I'm not gonna copy it exactly because it's pretty hard. So I'm going to make up my own for my own imagination. When I look at Matisse's paintings, I feel like that is his imagination's interpretation of the things he's saying, the still life he has set up for himself. All right, my next pot is a little bit smaller, so I'm going to start down here and draw an oval, 2 diagonal lines because this one is getting smaller, and a smile. And then it's got a little dish here to collect the water. It's got some really neat pink starburst patterns in it. I love Matisse's paintings so much because they are like a picture into his imagination. When he was looking at that goldfish bowl, that is what he saw. And the colors and the patterns and the designs. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm making my interpretation of what I see here. All right, the third one is the smallest. So my little oval there. It's got a real fun geometric pattern. All right, let's see here. So as I'm drawing, my eyes are going between my drawing and my still life, which is sitting right here in front of me. So they keep moving back and forth and observing what I see in front of me. All right, there are my little planners. Now I'm gonna add my plants. I'm gonna go opposite. We're gonna start with this one and draw a nice big stalk and my little top. This one's doing really well. I'm pushing pretty hard with my crayons. If you're using watercolor to paint, you want the wax of your crayons to resist the watercolor, because oil and water are opposite, and wax is kind of like a type of oil. It's gonna push off that watercolor. You can also use your crayons the whole time. You can color in with marker. I like combining two different things. I think it's a lot of fun and creates interest in your piece. This succulent was a baby succulent when I got it, and it's done really well in my window there. All right, my next one is my fiddle leaf. It's a miniature one. So it's called a sunshine fiddle. And I'm gonna draw my stalk right here through the middle. It's got a real big leaf. Got some curvy lines there. Let's get one coming out here. Again, my eyes are looking at my plant and they're looking at my paper at the same time, so they're going back and forth. If you decide to do fish, if you have a fish tank at your house like Henri Matisse, your eyes will be moving all over the place with those little fish. And some down here. It's okay to overlap your crayons before. And there's like little baby these down there. All right, and then my ZZ plant. When I bought this plant, there was a big sign that said, you can forget to water this plant and you can forget to give it lots of sunshine and it will survive. And I said, let's try that one. And it's done great so far. Except my daughter, she loves the dirt. And when I'm not watching, she goes over and pulls out a bunch of dirt. Maybe one day she'll have her own garden. So you could draw house plants like Mrs. Massaro, or like Henri Matisse, you can do a fish tank, or look around your house and see what other things you have sitting on tables. Lamps, or maybe you have little trinkets from vacations your family has taken, or pictures. Or look on your dining room table and maybe you have some fruits sitting there. Just gonna use this brown color to fill in my soil, real light. And then I'm going to draw my table. I'm gonna draw a round table like the goldfish. A little bit around here. All right, there we go. So now that I've drawn from real life, I'm going to draw things from my imagination. Henri Matisse, always had awesome things in the background, whether it was plants or wallpaper with designs on it, or a window to the outside. He never really had blank spaces. So I'm gonna draw a window right here, and maybe there is a there. There are not many leaves on the trees outside my house, but I'm just gonna pretend. Maybe there's some flowers. So in class, when we're in the same classroom together, I always draw really fast because I tell you I want you to have more time to make art. So I am drawing pretty fast here, and I want you to take your time, concentrate, and get your best drawings in. Maybe a blue sky. Wishful thinking for blue skies. Although all this rain will help all of the spring plants bloom and turn nice and bright green. So there's my window. I'm gonna keep adding things to my background. All right, I just added a little wall clock here and some stripes for some interest. Some stripes on my table and a little snake plant growing here like it's on the ground and it's trying to reach its friends. You can keep coloring with markers, with crayons. I have paint. I have some watercolor paint at my house, so that's what I'm gonna do. And I've got my watercolor brush and water here. And remember, with watercolor, it needs water. So we're going to dip a couple times into our water and then swirl, swirl, swirl. Be delicate painters. Swirl, swirl, swirl. If the color's too bright, add more water. If it's too dull, swirl more to get more paint on your brush. Remember, Matisse is the king of color, so you can have a lot of fun adding colors here. That's too dark for me, so I'm going to just add more water. There we go. So I'm gonna finish painting my Henri Matisse inspired still life. All right, now that I have painted my Henri Matisse still life, I'm gonna do a little bit of troubleshooting. I have some spots that have a lot of water on them. You can get a tissue and soak that up. So if you have some spots that got too much water, just soak them up. I also like to paint in different sections so that they don't mix together. Here you see some of my yellow and my green mixed. It's because I didn't let that green dry before I painted next to it. Watercolor will mix. So maybe do your pots first and then do a different area and go back to your leaves and then go to your table. Spread out your painting. And like I said, watercolors mix, so you can use that to your advantage. And here I did yellow and green together. So remember, Matisse is the king of color, or the master of color. So don't be afraid to paint your table red or your background yellow, or just experiment and have fun with the colors. I cannot wait to see your Henri Matisse inspired still lifes. You can email me, turn them in on Google Classroom, or upload them to Artsonia. Happy making, artist!